Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
I didn't do it, it was.
Yeah,
Josh did it.
Josh.
did it.
Okay.
Okay, we need to call for approval of the minutes. Do I have someone that will, approve it and then second it?
I'll second.
Are we,
And if you need copies, we have a copy out front.
are we good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Much better.
I don't think you have to push the button now, though, I don't know, try not to push the button.
How's that?
Okay, push the button,
How's that?
push the button.
Pam,
It's going again.
I think it's fine, we can hear you.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody second?
Yeah, I second.
Okay. Sandra? I guess the approval of the minutes,
We just did that.
okay?
Yeah, we just did it.
Susie, how about a treasury report?
Okay,
I've got it.
we started December first with $11,120. We spent $1,571 in December, so we ended the year with $9,548.63. And I thought it would be nice to know how much different things cost. So I've written it out here, and I've got copies of it out in the front by the table. The December meeting,
I'm recording and I doubt it can hear anybody that's back there.
okay,
Sorry. If everybody could, if they're gonna speak, come up, it'd be, yeah.
can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speak into the microphone.
Yeah.
It won't like you, I promise. We got lower it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we started December with $11,120 in cents. We ended December with $9,548 and some cents. And we had no expenses in January, so we ended the year and we still have $9,548. Something that people have asked for is how much do different things cost? The December meeting cost us $423, and that included the building, the entertainment, and the snacks and that kind of thing. The appreciation dinner that we held in December cost us about sorry about that, $995. 'Tis the Season, which is the gift certificates, cost us $75, and newcomer gifts cost us $77. So, and like I said, I've got copies of it out there. Yes,
Do you have any, information about the number of individuals that have paid?
so far this year.
Yeah, new
No.
people that are on board, that maybe that will help.
Oh, yeah, I've got, this whole folder is full of memberships.
Okay,
And I've just started getting memberships in just this week. I mean, our mailbox has a lot of memberships every day, so I didn't put those in there because, I thought I'd wait until after the meeting, and then the next time we'll get it, and I'll give you a 2-month deal.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Susie. Okay, so the committees, membership committee, Jerry, anything? Report? Okay. Okay, patrol, Beverly Supley, anything to report?
She's not here.
Beverly, not here, okay. Hospitality, Tamara. Content.
Hello, I don't have anything to report. I haven't made any major purchases. But if you have ideas for snacks or some kind of accommodation for diet or something you prefer, let me know. We will have new Icon Theater gift card, so that's something to look up for the drawing today, that's our new big thing. If you think of places that you would like for the gift cards, let me know, I always like to try to find local restaurants and places, so, that's it. And please go eat the snacks, cause I don't wanna pack it up and take it home.
Jesse will take care of it.
Thank you, Tamara. Okay, our welcoming committee, Ruthie.
I don't have all my own advice. I just took it over the last month. There's 2 homes that are closing in the neighborhood, both on 32nd Street. They haven't closed yet, so those will be the only 2 new families to the neighborhood. So once those are in, we'll report those.
Okay. Anything on technology?
Oh, yeah. And then on technology, we went ahead, the QR code went out this time on the newsletter. If anybody has anything that they would like to see on the QR code, more information, like we put lost and found pet coordinator membership questions. We will soon have where you can pay your membership online. And we do have the newsletter on there, so if you don't want to keep the paper, you guys were lost it, you can always go back there and find it there. Along with, we are recording the meetings and putting them on a YouTube channel, so you guys can follow that if you would like. I know not everybody does technology, but our hopes is to, with the YouTube channel, get it out there to more people. So if you have a neighbor that didn't come, you could share the QR code and it could be like they were here. All right, thank you guys. Oh, yes.
Well, I was having a discussion with a couple of people about people needing possibly to learn more about
Yeah.
how to access it,
Absolutely.
how to use it, and that maybe we could, if we have the time frame here available,
Absolutely.
that we could have some sort of educational session where we
Absolutely.
have people get their phones out and that we train them
Yeah.
and help them to
I
start
think that's a great
utilizing
idea. I think that's a great idea, because there's only, yeah, we could do it for April. Maybe I could start about 5 minutes early before the meeting. If anybody had a problem, then we could start the meeting with that and then have our meeting, or after the meeting.
I
if
was
you want.
thinking maybe you'd need a little bit more than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
something, I mean, I was just told, by that pretty lady with the long hair, that, we had extra time here, and if we do, that maybe we could have like a subsection before the meeting.
I think that's a great idea.
That would be helpful.
And I mean, honestly, we did it because we want you guys to have those tools in your hands and be knowledgeable. I mean, because we know that we have these committees and we know that we have these people, and even the people on the board, sometimes we don't know who to take those problems to.
Right.
So, and just having one place where everybody can go and find that information, whether you use tech or not, it's easily accessible once you know how, and it's a great tool to
Well,
have.
and I don't
Yeah.
want it to cause more work
No.
for the people like yourself
No.
taking an interest in that, and I'm hoping that that will make things
I
easier for you.
put a lot of work into making it accessible, and if you can't access it, then I'm not doing my job to me. So I would love to help, so absolutely, if we have time today, or even for the next meeting, if we could carve out some time, I could, and we can invite more people.
One of our speakers,
Huh?
book her as our speaker.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay. Okay, thanks, guys. See you in April. Turned red. Absolutely.
There we go.
Okay, next on the line is hospitality. I'm sorry, newsletter. Susie.
Newsletter report.
Your board, okay, thank you.
Hope everybody got their newsletters.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, and signs beautification, Linda.
Have nothing to report on that.
How about lost animal?
I would prefer that y'all text me if you find or lose an animal versus sending me a message on Nextdoor, because I just got a message on Nextdoor that was 6 months ago about somebody finding an animal. I just now got it. So if you'll text me, I do have a microchip scanner. I can come scan and see if the dog has a chip. That way you don't have to load it up and take it to the vet. And then if you're nice like Ed, you can just keep the dog if it doesn't have a number.
Hank's still there, it's been a year.
There you go. And Jesse's the one that helped me find him. Was it you?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, there's a Jesse on 100 Terrace
That's me.
that called, that's you?
Yep.
Okay, well, he's the one that took the dog and you
Oh,
found
yeah.
it.
I still see it in the gate.
Full 80 pounds. He's Jesse too?
Jesse, and Jesse.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't meet you that day because it was really cold.
Yeah, it was really cold, and we helped the dog out.
Yeah.
So
But
we tried
if
it.
you'll text me,
That's great.
I'll get with you. And I'll try to get my telephone number in the next, it was in one of the previous newsletters, but it wasn't in this one. So,
Okay, sounds good, thanks for that. Okay, good neighbor, Susie Hyde. Come on up.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I wanted to say that this is a new committee, and so I want people that are on that committee to please stand up and introduce yourself, and maybe where you live, and if you have something particular you'd like to say about yourself, we'd like to have you do that. So, stand up, Good Neighbors Committee.
Okay, I guess that's just us for now.
Okay, and introduce yourself.
I'm Gail Richardson. My husband Nick and I live on 42nd Place and, or 32nd Place, sorry. And we've been there for about 6 years now, and lived in Oklahoma City all my life though, nearby, so that's kind of it.
Thank you.
I'm Cheryl Huffman. I live on Eaton Avenue at the corner of 32nd Place in Eaton. Dale's my neighbor. And I've been in the neighborhood 25 years. And I remember when I used to be the newbie. So, yes, and I've lived in Oklahoma City most of my life.
Is anyone else here?
There's three, there's
Yeah,
Susie.
so,
Susie is on.
yeah, Susie, aren't you on our committee?
I don't know.
Well, I've got your name here.
But anyway, we've lived in the neighborhood for 12 years now, and we're originally from Kansas and have become Oklahomans. And at first hated it down here, but we'll soon became Okies because of all the nice people, and think our neighborhood is the best we've lived in Oklahoma City.
And you're also a board member, aren't you?
Yes,
Susie?
I'm the treasurer.
Okay, and you're the treasurer, yeah. Well, and I wanted to say, because my name is Susie, okay, you've been here so much longer than me, that you are Susie 1, and I am Susie 2. So that you can.
there's some other Susies in here too.
What does the new committee do?
Well, that's what I wanted to get into next, but let me, introduce, or just name some of these other people that are on this committee. Charles and Sharon Nance, that live at 3312 Eaton Avenue, are on the committee. And as it turns out, their son went to grade school, high school, and then partially college, both graduated from Central with our new president, so she wanted to make sure and let you know that. And then there's Jan Green, that's on the committee, if anyone knows Jan. And she lives at 4808 Northwest 30th Street. And then there's me, Susie Hyde, H-I-G-H. You know, when I lived in Plano, Texas, I tried to get that on my tag, and they politely told me, no, you're not gonna put Susie Hyde on your tag. You know, for obvious reasons. So anyway, and I live at 3317 Eaton Avenue. And I'm very happy to be chairing this committee and be a part of it. And to answer the lady's question about what we do, well, that's part of what we did when we put together this brochure that we hope people, when they do get it, will put it on their refrigerator on the side. And you're going to get it. The last board voted that this be distributed in March, this March, to everybody in the neighborhood. And it's just an informational sheet that has some great basic ideas of how you can be a good neighbor and how you can help other people be good neighbors. And so we want to be very active about that because we want Windsor Hills to be an outstanding neighborhood, which it already is, but we can always use improvement as far as you know, our yard care, our, parking, and, for instance, with regard to that, the city, just put out something, now, Carol, you gave that to me, here it is. In their OKC newsletter, which everyone has gotten, there's a little paragraph on the back side, which Cheryl has put in blue, and it says, put an end to yard parking. And it just, I'm not gonna read this whole thing to you, but it just encourages people not to park on their grass, to park in their driveways, and explains how to deal with it in a very nice manner. And that's part of what we want to do. We don't wanna be the police, you know, the good neighbor police. We wanna be the good neighbor friends that work with you on any issue that you have a concern with, that we can help, so that we just better our, the way we look and the way we act, and we can be proud of what we do. So we want to be a very active committee, and so I do have a question now for board members and the president, Todd, with regard to when this can go out, because we do want to distribute it in March, as was promised by the last board, so I'm assuming you will take that on as a responsibility, and that the people that deliver this newsletter would also deliver this. And we made the choice not to deliver this with the newsletter, but to deliver it separately.
Separate, okay.
Yeah, and encourage everyone that receives it not to just read it and put it in a drawer, but to put it on the side of your refrigerator or the front of your refrigerator like I've done, so. That's all I have. I'm finished.
Thank you.
Also gonna be in
Okay, well, Brenda,
Yeah.
guess you're next, or guest speaker.
Todd,
Oh,
just one thing to add is that the last board started the process of getting it translated into Spanish. And it would be English on one side and Spanish on the other.
Yeah.
Could you check to see if that's,
I will do, sure can, I sure can, thank you, thank you.
Oh, I had to get some water.
Okay.
I gotta get some more water.
You're fine, you're fine.
Translator, you.
Our speaker is Laura Brennan.
Yes.
Okay.
I went for water, sorry.
not this one, it's not that.
Okay, I'm sorry, you've been announced. I was looking for you that way.
That's okay, good night. No worries. All right, can everybody hear me, or do you want me to get a little closer? Good, all right. You got hearing aids. Okay, so a little bit about the confusion with these, the paperwork. One of the forms is a community assessment survey, and it says community assessment survey across the top. Completely voluntary if you'd like to do that. The Poison Center is trying to understand the needs of their communities that we work in. So if you can fill that out, it'd be great. It helps us to understand what you feel are the needs for yourself and your peers. The other form with the demographic information, which still had nobody's name on it, is so that if I can give you some of these materials that we get from the Department of Mental Health, we have to show that where we gave them, so we get the funding to get more. So that's what that's about. Any questions about the paperwork? So if you want to get one of the bags that has these Deterras in them, you'll have to do the demographic one. So the Deterra bags, if you're not familiar, if you can't get to a medication drop box to dispose of meds, you can put up to 15 pills, 2 ounces of liquid, or 2 patches in these. You add water, mix it up, then it's safe to put in the trash. So I have them in these bags, but you have to give me one of those demographic forms, so that's how that works. So, the Poison Center. I've been at the Poison Center about 6 years, and I'm the state coordinator. I travel the whole state. I get to do 77 counties, doing training, outreach, and education. I'm not a pharmacist nor a toxicologist, so I don't answer the phones when someone calls the Poison Center. I do everything outside of that scope. And as we go through, if you have any questions, just raise your hand, interrupt, it's all good. It's a pretty casual training here today. And if I don't know the answer, we might even call the Poison Center and ask them so we can model how easy it is to do that behavior. So that Poison Helpline, the 222-1222. It's the same number. It's been around for 30, 40 years. And you can put that number right in your phone, so you could call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, okay? People often have this misunderstanding that when you call the poison helpline number, that it's a volunteer or maybe a retired nurse or someone answering the phone. That is not true. So these are employed, excuse me, see, I got that water. PhD pharmacists, toxicologists, and we do have a few nurses that answer the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What's different from when you might have called maybe when you have little kids around, or even 10 years ago, is you can now call with a question. People think, oh, that's the number that you call, mommies call when kids get into something. But it's not. It's for anybody to call. So, questions. Just call and ask. Any kind of question. We can keep about 94% of our callers at home. So that means we saved about $11 million just in Oklahoma in unneeded trips to the emergency room. That's a lot, especially during COVID when we were trying to keep emergency rooms clear. So you got a new prescription when you went to the doctor on Thursday. And now, this afternoon, you think, a day and a half into this, you might be having a drug reaction. What are you gonna do? It's Saturday. What are you gonna do now? Try to get a hold of the pharmacist, try to get a hold of your doctor. Well, you could call the poison center and we can help you with that, to know what to do, okay? You accidentally, Laura, I do it, I've done it, took your medicine twice. Ready to do that? Yeah. So now what? You don't feel right. Are you having a drug reaction? Well, did I take it twice? Like, I don't remember. Do I take it now? I accidentally skipped a dose. Do I take the 2 later? What do you do? You've all been there, right? Yes. Call and ask. Don't fret. And don't waste the time going to the emergency room. Call and ask. We have pharmacists, like I said, toxicologists, nurses there. Say, okay, what is that medicine? Okay, if you skipped it, then do this. Or that drug reaction. I had a man calling recently that had started a new blood pressure medicine. It's an old blood pressure medicine. It's been around forever. Lisinopril, been around forever, but he'd never taken it. And he swelled up. I mean, his whole face. Very rare reaction to it, but it happened. They called, we asked them, saved them a trip to the ER, of what to do. So you can think of so many things that you could accidentally make a mistake with your medications, and you could call. Now, you've seen these magnets. They've been around, this logo, this look for years, but nationally they're all going to change. They're going to have this different look up there, different color, but it's the same number. So you may stop seeing things with the pill box on them in the poison materials, if you will. And you notice I've not said the word poison control the whole time I've been talking. It's because we don't use that phrase anymore. We're not poison control. We never controlled anything, right? And nobody did. But that was the nationally whatever you call it, and for generations, people will still call it poison control. And that's okay. But we use the word poison center, and it's not, and again, in that idea that you could call, in prevention, you could call and ask questions ahead of time. It's not that there's only in that emergency, So there's so many reasons why people call. Anybody want to tell a story on themselves or their kids of calling the poison helpline number? Yes, go ahead.
I'll tell a story.
Okay.
I worked as a substitute school nurse for a while, and I had a little girl that the teacher brought in, 6 years old, who had gone out in the playground, reached through a fence, and got some berries off a real pretty little plant, and they come in there and they're all worried to death. And who did I call? I
Poison,
Center.
there you
I
go.
was fairly certain that it was poke,
Yes.
poke salad, the plant, and it can be a little bit toxic if you eat a lot of it.
Sure.
But she probably had just had a few bites of it.
Okay.
The nice thing I liked about the Poison Center was they told me what to do, which I could then tell the principal and the staff, so everybody could relax. But they also were interested in the parents' phone number. So when I called the mom to tell the mom what had happened and what the Poison Center had told me, then the Poison Center said they wanted her mom's number. They would call her later to find out how the child was doing. And they did, and they followed up with her. So that's kind of a piece that we don't think about, that.
Yes, all of our follow-ups, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
And we didn't plan that, she just
No.
happened to tell that story. So, but no, in seriousness, we do that, we wanna follow up. You know, it's 4 hours later, how are you feeling? Because there might have been a piece of the story that got left out, and we aren't gonna be left holding the, you know, the bag on that one. So we're like, so has anything else occurred? Because you might have thought that when you accidentally took your spouse's medicine instead of yours, and you took 2, but there was something else in there, and now you don't feel right, and there's so many variables. You thought the kid just got a sip of Pine Sol, but maybe there was more involved, you know, so we always do the follow-ups. Anybody else want to share a story? I know when I was little bitty, mid-70s, I climbed up onto the cabinet at my grandma's house and made an entire bottle of Flintstone vitamins.
Oh.
That was, yeah, but, you know, kids do stuff, kids do stuff. And of course, they called the poison helpline even back then, and they went and got syrup of Epicac, and I threw up and got a spanking and got in trouble and the whole 9 yards, right? And I remember my grandma screaming, "Don't you spank that baby, she's already thrown up," and they got the whole thing. And my mom's like, "Oh yes, I will, she's never gonna do it again," and you know, that kind of thing. And seriously, we don't use syrup of Epicac. You can't really buy it like you used to. And we don't really encourage now on most things to start inducing vomiting until you call us first. Because what we've learned since way back in the, as my son likes to say, the olden days, that we've learned that some things are not best to come back up. So, especially cleaning products of sorts. So you want to call first and then let us direct if you should induce vomiting. And that helps along in that process. Some other things we do, we work with law enforcement regarding pills and first responders and chemicals. We work with medical examiners. We do things regarding overdose, all kinds of things that you don't think of that we're also doing behind the scenes that have nothing to do with the 40,000 phone calls we get a year to the helpline number. So the 3 things I teach everywhere I go, I talked to this with the Oklahoma City Public School nurses the other day, or a mom group or a community group, is safe use, safe storage, safe disposal. So whether you're teaching this to your kids, your grandkids, your church group, your friends, it's super easy to teach poison prevention in this realm that is safe use, safe storage, safe disposal. Are you using it as you're supposed to? Are you using that cleaning product as you're supposed to? Are you using that chemical, that spray? Please don't wait till the windiest day in Oklahoma to spray pesticide all around your yard. Please, we get those calls. Or the hottest day, and the guy had on gloves, and he was spraying, weed and bug spray around, but he kept doing this because it was hot, and it went right through the gloves, into the skin. He's going to the hospital, So much pesticide got in through the skin. Are you storing it where it needs to be? Is it what we call up and away, is our little phrase we use? Is it, we do so good, right? We practically bubble wrap our kids these days, but we do terrible when it comes to the garage, patios, storage building, outside, especially garages at grandparents' house. I'm just gonna say it. I love grandparents, but those are where we see some big messes with some calls sometimes. Yeah. And disposal. You know where drop boxes are, where you can drop old medicine? Anybody ever been to a drop box? Yes. So, they have, it looks like a white mailbox, it's like a blue one at the post office, but it's white. They have them in the police stations around. Go to Bethany, there's one, they're all over. And you take your old medicine, leave it in the bottles, put it in like a Walmart sack or a bag or something, and you just put it into that drop box. The Bureau of Narcotics collects those, and they take them to a place in Tulsa where it's turned into renewable energy, it's burned. So we're not putting any more drugs in the water. The fish are so high that, I'm just kidding. And the fish, we don't want anything in our water, right? So we want to safely dispose. We also want to safely dispose because, like I tell my mom, hey, you know, those antibiotics from 1984 don't need to be in the cabinet anymore. I'm telling you, they're no good. You know, clean it out. And so you have the risk of someone getting sick from them, a poisoning, a kid getting into it. I tell the story of the lady at one of our senior groups that told me that Blackman Mooring Steamatic came to clean her carpets, and the guy was asking about a cup to measure some chemicals, and she was like, okay. She went in the kitchen and got a little measuring cup. He was like, no, the kind that like comes with medicine. He wanted to see where her pills were. And so you have people who, because of the opioid epidemic, which we could talk for hours about that on a separate day, is that people are drug seeking. And it may not be that you have opioids or pain medications. You may have something else they'll steal and trade to get rid of or barter or tricks. You know, it's just the way it is these days. I had a gentleman in Bethany tell me a story that when his wife passed from cancer, it was in the paper and she had died. 2 weeks later, this young woman comes to the door and said, oh, I knew her at the hair salon. And he didn't know. He's never been to this wife. Do you know all the people that work where your wife gets her hair done? No. And she tricked him that they knew each other. Oh, can I come in and use your bathroom? So again, drug-seeking people, looking for medications, especially when they think that's somewhere they can find them. So disposal can save a lot of that. We just don't want that there. You got the prescription. You're supposed to take them all. You didn't. And now there's a few left. Or maybe you didn't need to finish them. And that's what you could do by going to the drop box or using these doTERRA bags I'll have today. If you go to a drop box, please, 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 do not take all your pills and pour them into a giant Ziploc bag like this little teeny little lady did in Bethany and got pulled over on the way. That was somebody else, and not this teeny little lady was going to the drop box. You will be arrested with a big bag of pills. So you want to leave them in the bottles and take them to the drop box. Any questions about the drop box? Yes?
No, I just have a comment. You mentioned Bethany, and not all pharmacies have the drop boxes, but Don Cootie.
Yeah, that's right, they do.
In Bethany on 23rd.
And the Walgreens.
Do they?
50th and May.
At 50th and May, yes.
When my ex-husband passed away and my daughters were trying to find a place to drop, they didn't think about calling the poison center. Just called pharmacies around, and
Yes.
pharmacies had no idea. They said, I don't know what you're supposed to do with it.
Well, you can also go into like safe medicine disposal. So there's a thing through the Bureau of Narcotics website. You put in your zip code, and it will pop up and tell you where drop boxes are too. So yes.
You mentioned not taking the pills out of the bottles and putting them in a bag and all that.
Yes.
So you want them to stay in the bottles. What about the labels?
Well, I leave the labels on because I trust that the Bureau of Narcotics is the only people that has the key to open that box and take them to the place in Tulsa to burn them into renewable energy. I believe in all that, and I leave them on. Other people say, no way, and they just take a black marker and mark it off, or when they get there, they take each label off and then put it in the thing. So, and there's no liquids or inhalers that can go in those drop boxes, by the way. So this is a picture. I'm gonna hit the light so you can see things a little better. Don't go to sleep on me yet. Oh, that's not the right light.
I think that's as good as it.
Oh, much better. Better? That is what I like to call epic failure. Can everybody see that? So everybody knows what kind of bottle that once was. Gatorade. And that was in the garage at Grandma and Grandpa's house. And guess what Grandpa put in it?
Antifreeze.
This is a tragedy. So they left it right there low in the garage. And here comes the 4-year-old grandson. Oh, great drink. You know? So, I call this epic failure for a number of reasons. It's a good learning tool. We never, ever, ever want to put anything dangerous into a container that was once identified as a food container or drink container. Especially if you have children around, or you may have older adults or anyone with some traumatic brain injury, memory loss, confusion. These things can be dangerous. So we don't put something in a container that obviously was once identified, because you're asking for, you know, a situation. Now, this should have been properly disposed of. Why you need to keep that much, I don't know. I don't know the backstory. I just know that this child was in terrible shape. So this is something to, again, you may not have kids at your house anymore, and maybe they only come around every great once in a while, but you can share this with other people that you know. Or someone, again, I had a lady call, her mom was having a lot of problems with confusion, dementia, memory loss, and they had to start labeling things a little different because she wasn't able to understand what was in what. And my friend's dad had that with some vision problems and drank what he thought was like an orange drink, but it was like an orange cleaning product. But the label had all these beautiful oranges on it. I mean, it looked delicious, but he didn't know, you know, and so these things can happen. So, and again, you can call when these things do occur. Now, this picture I actually took myself. I took a hot dog and I put 2 teeny tiny little batteries in it, and I set it on my desk in a paper towel, and about an hour later I cut it open. And you can see how deep that burned that quickly. So imagine the soft tissue in a child's throat. So I beg of you, when there are kids around, to remember to toys with little batteries, they've got to have those things on tight, okay? You got to tighten them up. Key fobs, clickers, I don't know, greeting cards that are funny and they sing and dance. When my son was a little bitty, he would just belly laugh. It was so cute at those funny little squirrels dancing on those greeting cards. But I wasn't thinking about the teeny tiny little battery in it, you know? So, hearing aids, batteries. There are so many things that we don't think about. And if we drop one, I'm not gonna find it. It's gonna be a little kid or a little dog that's gonna find it before I am, right? So, has anybody ever had an experience with something like this? Oh, thank goodness. So, these are the kind of, you know, it gets real serious when we get this call.
Yeah.
Real serious. Is anybody a nurse here?
I'm a scientist, I'm not a nurse. But
Yes? Okay. And this is something we've seen for many, 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 many years. It's a bad picture, but it's blue drinks. To a toddler, it's all blue drinks. They can't read. So you got that windshield washer fluid out because it's been bad weather. Then you left it sitting there. Then it got warm that one day, and the kids were out playing, and it's sitting there. Oh, blue drink. And here we go. You remember when you have, in those situations, again, children, someone with memory loss, confusion, dementia, they won't see the label. They see the color of what's in the bottle. So it's important to remember. Like, oh, it was Fabuloso. It's purple, but it's got all those like flowers and stuff. I mean, it looks delicious, right? It smells good, but obviously that's not something you want to drink. So let's talk a little bit more about some of the top things with kids right now. That's my kid, but he's big now, but I like that cute picture. He's 16 now. He would die if he knew I put that on. But I was just talking, I said to these nurses, just at Metro Tech, all the Oklahoma City public school nurses last Monday. And I told them I had 49 calls from them in 2022. Not a lot, really. But I asked them, I pulled up what the calls were. And they follow the national trend. So we're normal like everybody else. Congratulations. Medications, RX and over-the-counter, cleaning products, marijuana, and hand sanitizers. That was our top calls, which exactly is following what we see in our top calls outside of schools when it comes to children also. Marijuana used to be way down on the list. Before marijuana would be topicals, what we call foreign bodies, like the batteries and stuff. But it's came up at number 3 now. And cleaning products have always been our number 2, number 3.
Is that because of the gummies?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cleaning products, that spiked obviously during COVID because we stopped putting our cleaning products away because we left them sitting out all the time. And I think people have not gotten back into the habit of safe storing cleaning products. So that continues to be up, even though I don't think they're cleaning as much as they were during COVID. So you can see there's some other things, pesticides, topicals, rock salt, plants that we see from those calls. I want to talk about medical marijuana just for a second. I don't have a dog in the fight either way. I'm concerned about kids, okay? It's, as you know, it looks like candy. It looks delicious. It looks like gummies. And if you know people that have a card, good for them. Teach them to store it. If this is your medicine, do you leave your blood pressure medicine sitting out? No. Do you leave your diabetic stuff sitting out where the kids are? No. You've got to put it away. Please, please, please store it in a locked box or a container. I think what happens sometimes is they use their marijuana products and then they're not thinking as clearly and then they leave it sitting out and they go to bed and the kids get up first and like, ooh, bag of gummies. And they eat the whole thing and then we get called. So imagine the strength of them now. And I'll just be honest, we've all been to college and maybe did something a few times and thought, ooh, I'm too high, right? Well, imagine you're a toddler and you feel that way. How scared you might be. You know, a lot of times when the children have an ingestion that's such, they'll fall and crack their head open is what happens a lot because they're disoriented. So, you had a question?
My daughter goes to Mayfield Middle School. If you guys have middle schoolers in our middle schoolers,
I'm sorry.
Middle schoolers in our neighborhood go to Mayfield.
Yes.
And there's kids that just bring them and pass them out.
Yes, we get calls.
Yeah, and it's not.
That's poor parenting.
But
It's not the
it's
school's
right.
fault.
But no, it's not the school's fault.
That's
but
what I was
it's
telling the
so
school nurses.
It's the poor parenting.
It's so easily accessible, and these kids are just like not just one time, not just it's like every day.
Well,
they're
you know,
bringing
that's one
stuff
thing
like
to
that
talk
to
about.
school.
That's a good point with your teens. I mean, I've had this conversation with my son. I'm like, look, somebody could bring some kind of marijuana, candy, cookie, brownie, drink. I mean, it comes in every form you can think of. Any way you could ingest it edibly. And so if somebody offers you that at school, do not take it until you see that they're actually getting a Skittle out of a Skittle bag, you know, but still, I know. I said it's just not safe anymore. Because if somebody offers you
at children's huge amounts of fentanyl and Skittles.
and fentanyl, yeah, that's a whole other conversation. So, yeah, I teach you know, kids would bring things and you'd share with your friends. That's what you did, but now it's scary, and so we've had those conversations, so, yeah. On that note, so our pediatric exposures, this is 0 to 5 years old, reported to us. Now, if they just went to a hospital and they didn't involve us, that we don't know. These are just the ones that we were involved in. And you can see how for last year, how much it's gone up. These are the ones just reported to us. So when people look at poison center numbers, always remember we're only one piece of the puzzle. Because this whole side of the room knew to call the poison center when they were bit by a scorpion or something, and this side didn't. So we're only going to know about these calls, if that makes sense. So that's the same on this. There could have a bunch of people that had a marijuana exposure for a child, and they went straight to the ER, or they did nothing, or we never knew about them. But when we get involved, some of these can get pretty serious. Sometimes one of the symptoms, severe vomiting, their heart rate, it's hard to breathe, again, falling, cracking their head open. This is what we see in the kids. And so you can see these major central nervous system depression. They're gonna, I can't imagine being a 5-year-old and I'm OD'd on marijuana so much that I can't even breathe and I'm high and confused, and now I'm in the hospital and they're sticking a tube down my throat, and You know, we had a couple of kids that ate like a whole bag of 1,000 milligram gummies.
Wow.
They've had kids that have gone into a coma. And people don't think that is, like, you don't think marijuana is dangerous because, you know, and I hear the argument, no one ever died. Well, we're talking about adults. We're not talking about a 5-year-old who weighs less than 40 pounds, right? Any questions about that? So when they pass the legal marijuana, which will probably happen,
No.
I know, but it will probably happen,
Oh, no.
we're gonna get real busy.
Everybody need to get out and vote.
No.
That's right, people need to get out and vote. And another thing that's been trending, you may have seen it on the news last year, this time last year, was self-harm calls in 11 to 19-year-olds. So we had a spike, that was in 1 month, 123 that we knew of in self-harm calls. So I talk to parents, often parent groups, and I say, if you have teenagers, and maybe there's, I mean, it doesn't even mean that they're having depression, it's just being a teenager is hard. And being a teenager today would be really hard, I think. Don't buy giant bulk at Sam's of Tylenol and ibuprofen. Just maybe not do that anymore, you know? You might want to keep it to a smaller amount. And if you have teens around, I noticed I've been at some of the high schools and did some different talks that no one's ever showed them how to dose medicine. They don't know how to dose it over the counter. I speak to young ladies and I said, well, she'll go, I have cramps or my stomach hurts and I'll take some Tylenol and then I still don't feel good, I take more. I'm like, have you ever read the back of the bottle? Has anyone taught you how to dose over the counter medicine? So I've been trying to get resources to, you know, some of the schools about talking to, I mean, I'm one person for the whole state, but you know, how to talk to kids about how to dose safely. It's not like I took a little and a little didn't work and a little took more and more, you know, that doesn't work with over the counters. People don't feel that they're dangerous a lot of times, so.
Tylenol will kill you.
That's right. And I'm hopeful, now that we're at the end of February, I'll pull the calls of, I don't know what happens usually in that, you know, November to February range. I mean, it's, well, we probably know why, you know, but hopefully those aren't continuing to go up. I don't know how many of these people actually were successful or passed away or, you know, I don't know the outcomes. I just know when we started seeing this spike, we had a press conference with Children's and we got on TV and we were talking to parents, like, talk to your kids. It was scary. So these are the kind of things we deal with too, that people may not realize that the Poison Center gets involved in. So, you know, kind of the takeaway on talking to families, store it, give it correctly, get rid of it when you need to, and talk to other people about it. If you're at your grandson's house and he's got kids there and you're like, hey, can I make a suggestion, you know? I had a girl at a parent group once in Stillwater go, look, my mother-in-law and I can't stand each other and my husband demands that the toddler goes there every weekend. What do I do? She won't put anything in it. And I'm sure that's a hard situation, but let her go. And, you know, or like, well, then you're the mom and you gotta stand up to your mother-in-law and say, look, I'd love the kids to come, but you can't leave your pillbox, which basically looks like a Lego with candy in it, to a child sitting by your chair. You can't do it because there's some new diabetic medications. There's some heart medicine now that one pill could kill a toddler. So you've got to have those conversations sometimes when they're difficult. She didn't like that, but she knew, you know, it wasn't safe. How would she live with herself then if something happened? When you call the Poison Center, because you accidentally took your medicine twice or you took your spouse's medicine, the one that happens with adults simply is, I forgot to put on my glasses and I didn't see what I was doing. We get that one a lot. I didn't turn on the light. That kind of simple thing. But they're gonna ask, you know, what was taken, when was it taken, how much, how is the patient acting? Bring the bottle if you can to, if it's a product, you know, whether it's the 6 ounce of blah blah milligram or the 10 ounce of blah blah milligram, it could make a difference. And if someone's going to the hospital, especially with kids, it's based on how much they ingested and their weight. So we're gonna say, can you bring that to the phone and read us which you know, milligram that is for sure? We'll calculate that. And that's how we can often, like I said, keep people at home. So, any questions? We're zipping through. Our website has all these fact sheets and resources So, if you wanted to get things, you can download them. You can call the Poison number and say, I saw Laura at the Windsor Hills neighborhood meeting, and I'd like to order some stuff to give out at my church. You know, you can do that. It's free to order materials. And National Poison Prevention Week is coming up, so that makes a really good opportunity to give those out at the school or the church or the daycare or Boy Scouts or wherever. So, and let's see here. Oh, this was that website. It's through Johnson & Johnson, this medication safety, to teach about dosing for kids. So, I'm glad they include our number on these fact sheets that they give out. So if you do have a teen and you want to teach them about dosing or how to safely take over-the-counter medicine, there are resources that you can get to help walk you through that. So, and this is my contact information and our website and our email and our Twitter and our Facebook and my email. If you want anything else, if you need some resources, please, again, that's what we're here to help with. And we'll be able to provide those for you. And again, we do other talks, snakes, bites, stings, plants. We could go on and on and on and on and on. But I'm glad I got to take a part of your meeting today. So if you want to wait till you have more things on your agenda, a couple more. So I'll go out there, I guess, and then I'll collect the papers and give you the bags and all that. Does that work for you guys? Okay. Well, thank you so much. Any other questions? No? What's all this? Woo! I got papers. Oh, thank you.
This looked like to me too. I wish that I just fell in love with.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was pretty interesting information. Thank you, Laura. New business, garage sale coordinator position is open. Anybody would like to volunteer for that? Please give us a call, text, reach out to us, please. Also, upcoming picnic. If there's any interest in that, please let us know. Or if you have any questions, please let us know. Tamara, are we ready for door prizes? Yeah.
Michelle Bell, which probably a lot of people know, she is in the hospital. She had brain cancer, and they did surgery on her on, was it Monday? Monday this week.
Tuesday.
Anyway, got a text from Danny